Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Midpoint. Today, we're going to talk with Dave, a very, very old friend of mine, and let's say one of the three members or famous members of Holstee and the Holstee Manifesto. If you don't know it, I'll put a link into my show notes. It's definitely something that you should print out and put on your wall. It's been on my wall for 15 years in different apartments and different countries where I lived. And I'm super excited to speak with Dave today about their story. And also one thing that is extremely interesting, journaling and their app, web app, mobile app, everything app that has come out, which is called Reflection. Welcome, Dave. Welcome to the podcast.
Cool. Thanks so much for having me, Rico. This is a lot of fun. This is the first time I heard the name of your podcast, The Midpoint. I love that name, especially given the context you shared about it. It's awesome.
It's great to have you. We'll, we gotta talk about many things, and maybe just, before we dive into the topic of what I just mentioned, tell everyone a little bit about yourself, your core team. I mean, I forgot to mention we're your brother as well, and the Holstee Manifesto. Let's start there.
Yeah, sure. So my name's Dave. I'm currently based in Amsterdam. Previously spent the last 10 or so years in New York. I've been in Amsterdam now for about 5-6 years. I live here with my wife, Jess, and my son, Shiloh. He's 2.5. And about 14 years ago, I started Holstee with my brother, Mike, and a good friend, a mutual friend of ours, Fabian. And our intention with Holstee is to create products and inspiration and tools and offer a community that helps people live a more meaningful life. And how we've done that over the years at Holstee has evolved and changed. But as you mentioned, one of the first things we did is we wrote a manifesto. And it was really putting to words what we wanted from our own lives and kind of the impetus for starting a company. We both, my brother and I, had other jobs before we started Holstee. We quit those jobs to start it. We didn't really have much of a formal business plan or even too much of an idea of exactly what we were building. It actually started as a t-shirt company, but we knew we wanted to work together. We knew we wanted to build something meaningful that has a positive impact. And some of those ideas you'll see reflected in the manifesto. For example, life is about the people you meet and things you create with them. Some opportunities only come once and seize them. A lot of our original ethos was reflected in that. And so that path led us to do many different products and have many different partnerships over the years. We've created reflection cards to spark meaningful conversation and gratitude cards in partnership with grateful.org to help us foster gratitude, and a box set of 40 practices for more meaningful life with the University of California, Berkeley's Greater Good Science Center, and a handful of other products. And most recently, we developed Reflection.app. It's a journaling app to help you better understand yourself with guided journaling practices and journaling journeys. And a couple months back, we spun that out into its own company. So now I focus all of my attention on Reflection.app, and my brother Mike and his team on the Holstee side are building up the Holstee front. That's a quick kind of backstory of where I am and how I got to where I am.
Big backstory, I have to say. We need to dive into all of this. Going to the manifesto, I'm just going to read out the first few lines. This is your life. Do what you love and do it often. If you don't like something, change it. I think that by itself is already a lot to digest, I have to say. And it goes on and on and on, as Dave quoted some of it a little bit more later on. I can only recommend it. Go and read it, and maybe read one line a day and think and reflect about it. I remember when you launched that, it had a massive sort of, I don't know if you'd say viral component at that time already, but it just went everywhere. What was the feedback you got? Do you remember?
It was the experience was very surreal because we were trying to sell t-shirts, and we had this couple lines on our about page, called it our manifesto, that was really just for us. It was like our North Star. It was why we did it and kind of something we would return to. But it was never a product. It was never a marketing campaign or anything along those lines. And people kind of coming back and be like, oh, these words are really striking a chord with me. And we're like, okay, let's kind of design it into a beautiful image. And so we reached out to our network and asked some people who would be interested in designing it. And a really talented designer, Rachel Bresh, was interested in designing something. She made the design that's kind of very popular right now. And we posted that on our site. Also didn't think much about it. It was just kind of putting it to a design. And that image just got shared once on Tumblr, and then twice, and then 3 times, and 4 times, and then Twitter, and then blog posts, and it just went nuts. And it was completely unexpected for us. And we weren't really sure what to do. And a funny thing is, at the time, it didn't even say Holstee on that image. So it was just kind of those collection of sentences. And there's all these threads. Who wrote this? Where is this from? And then the people respond like, oh, it's this t-shirt company, Holstee, go check them out. And there's like its own kind of movement happening around it, which was an incredible experience. And a lot of people were kind of reaching out and getting in touch. But very unexpected. And not long after, actually, a friend of ours, Jan, I don't know if you know Jan, he's also Swiss. And he was doing some, helping us with some stuff at Holstee, some marketing stuff. And he was looking at our analytics and he said, hey guys, no one's really buying your t-shirts, but everyone's coming here for this poster or for this art. Have you considered making a poster? And we're like, oh no, yeah, we don't need to make a poster. We're a t-shirt company. He's like, no, I really think you should. And so we said, okay, if we're going to make a poster, we want it to be the most beautiful, highest quality poster. We're with our t-shirts, we were sourcing everything locally. We're manufacturing locally. We were very focused on the materials and how things were made. So we decided to letterpress print the poster. We worked with a family-run letterpress shop based in downtown LA, and they still do all of our letterpress printing for us over a decade later. But we decided to make this one poster, and then that poster went nuts. We could barely fulfill the orders. We're kind of running around, and so that also changed the trajectory of our company, where we initially thought we were going to be selling these t-shirts, and all of a sudden we were selling all these posters, and that was very exciting, but also kind of came with its challenges as well. It's like, oh, what kind of company are we now? So changed the course of a lot of things.
You said a lot of people reached out to you. Did you just want to buy it, or did they also tell you their stories on how it impacted them?
Oh, yeah, we got a lot of emails from people whose lives were dramatically impacted in very unexpected ways. Some beautiful stories of people who decided to kind of quit their job and travel. And it was a kind of a funny thing because we weren't encouraging people to quit their jobs, but there's a line in the manifesto that says, if you don't like your job, quit. And it wasn't that we wanted people to quit willy-nilly, but we also wanted to give permission to people to make different life choices. And if they're in a situation that doesn't suit them and suit their own personal values, a reminder to kind of make those changes. And so hearing those stories was really encouraging. But at some point, I remember my brother and I saying, like, don't quit your job immediately. Like, have a plan, get ready.
That's hilarious. So, I'm guessing, since you said you started out with this manifesto as your own reflection, sort of on your own mission, that line was what you did. You quit
exactly.
your job, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, for myself, the aspect, if I remember correctly, the aspect, sort of the one thing that I always think of when I when you tell me the manifesto, sort of the line I think of is sort of stop if you don't have time, or if you're too busy, stop watching TV. Right? That's for me, and it applies, whether it's TV, TikTok, Instagram, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Side note, if anybody picked up on Tumblr is sort of an old way of blogging by similar to Pinterest or Instagram these days. Never mind.
Did I just date myself?
I don't know when is Tumblr still alive?
I think it was acquired by Yahoo and then respun back out and
what's Yahoo?
Gone through the cycle a couple of times. Yeah, exactly.
But so no matter what it is that gets our attention span these days, right? It's if you realize, if you catch yourself from being too busy, start cutting out or just reducing a little bit those things. And I think TV still stands for all of that. Maybe today you might write Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Amazing. So back to maybe to you and your team. So the manifesto was the North Star. and turn a t-shirt company into a poster company. Now that manifesto literally changed your life too. What's like? Do you still use that as a mantra for yourself? Do you have it in front? Do you have it in your house somewhere, or is it you know it by heart? Or how does that affect your own day to day?
Yeah, I definitely have it hanging in my house, and I come back to it at different times in different ways, and I think there's something special about having many different sentences in there, and it's not that all of it always resonates with me at every moment, but there are certain moments when a certain line will really strike a chord with me. And over the years, as Holstee's iterated and Holstee's evolved, and as we've kind of started Reflection.app, different lines have kind of come back up and as a guiding point for what we're doing. Holstee as a company has evolved many different times, different kind of product lines and different teams, and an office space to fully remote. And I think one of the lines from the manifesto that kind of allowed us to do that change is, this idea, if you don't like something, change it. And so over the years, if it was like something wasn't working, or if it didn't feel right, if it didn't align with our personal values, going back to the manifesto, it felt like in order to be true to the soul of the company, we had to change it.
Mm-hmm. I think it's something also you could, I catch myself often in sort of the day-to-day, when you keep getting frustrated about something, it's very hard to, very hard to do personally, to say basically, oh, that person or that thing keeps me from this, and that makes me frustrated. But most of the time, it's just me being frustrated about this, and I could theoretically change it. So making that change, of course, if it affects other people, then it's not necessarily something you can do all the time, especially in the work environment sometimes, or also just with your partner or your family and so forth. But if you, I think I would say most of the cases, or at least half of the cases, it's just me. You could go ahead and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to do this in a different way, and find a hack for myself so that I can reduce at least that frustration a little bit. Has that for you also changed in the context of family? When you have how old is your kid now? Apologies.
2.5.
2.5. Yeah. So has that changed since in the last 2.5 years as well? Do you feel less flexible?
I feel like everything's changed.
Do you feel more flexible or less flexible?
I think, I guess, like different turning points. So when my wife and I became like partners and kind of co-living and getting married, and I think part of that was like one big change in how I spend my time and where I'm focusing my time and energy. And the second big change was having a son, which also kind of changed everything. So now when I make big decisions about how I spend my time and energy, it's within the context of how this affects my partner and my son. And so, there's definitely a lot more consideration taken with different decisions. I used to travel a lot on my own. I used to have a lot of hobbies. I still have a lot of hobbies. I just spend a little bit less time on each of them. But there's definitely more considerations to be made.
Yeah. On your website, and you already mentioned that might be outdated, but I'm just going to call you out anyway. You start with, when I'm not daydreaming, I spend my early mornings and my late evenings working at Holstee. How's that changed with having a kid? First and foremost, what are you doing in between early mornings and late evenings? Weren't you working? And how has that changed now, sort of in the context of just, being in Amsterdam, being with kid and everything, and running this startup? Yeah.
So I'll definitely need to update that language, but I guess some of it still resonates. I still work late evenings. A lot of times after my son goes to sleep, I love to be there for kind of bedtime and story time. And so after he goes to bed, if I don't fall asleep lying down next to him, I'll usually get back up and get on my computer for a couple more hours. I'm a bit of a night owl when it comes to work. Sometimes also a morning bird, but for the most part, I'm quite groggy in the morning, and I like to work out and really keep my mornings to myself and journal in the morning. And then I kind of slowly get into work mode. But then once I'm going, it's like a train. I like to keep going. It's very hard for me to stop going.
Where are your colleagues? Where's your team? Time zone wise?
With Reflection.app, we're fully remote. We've got our developer in France. We've got a developer in Nigeria, a developer in Kenya. We have a operations person in Barcelona and customer support in New England in the US.
Oh, gotcha. So basically, still the majority within the range of your own day.
Yes.
So that you don't necessarily need to stay up all night. So you're just really more out of productivity yourself to sort of. Is that the time when you get most done?
I do. I find that sometimes in those kind of late evenings, I just get in the zone sometimes, and it's just yeah. I'm not sure what it is, but I'm able to kind of knock out a lot of the things that I wasn't able to get done during the day. It's like I get that second energy, and I feel like I've got an open window, and it's also like bonus time. I feel like during the day, it's like, okay, I'm here to work, and I've got to do these things. But like if I'm able to get back on for that extra evening hour, it's kind of like it's an optional pocket of time that I've created a window for that would otherwise probably be spent, not doing other things, which is fine. Could be Netflix, could be like, whatever I would spend that like hour or two on. But I find that if I'm able to create that time for myself, I'm able to kind of work on whatever I want. And oftentimes that is something I'm like very passionate about, or a new feature or a new design for the app. And so, yeah, it's kind of like special time in that sense.
Yeah. I struggle a lot in the evening to basically I'm a morning person, I have to add, but I struggle in the evening to basically just go to bed early, or sort of to go to bed at a time where I do know that I do know would be right for me, so that I'm not groggy in the morning, right?
Yes.
So and Netflix and other bad habits. Netflix is a great tool, don't get me wrong, but sort of the extent that I use it, or other TV or other apps I use, keep me from going to sleep. So I always struggle with that evening routine. Is that something you stick to, or do you also struggle sometimes?
I guess in a similar way, like the challenge is once I'm in the work mindset, it's very hard for me to then kind of slow down my mind when I want to go to sleep. And so I was talking to my brother about this yesterday, trying to work less in the evenings because it really does impact my sleep. It makes it much harder to go to sleep at the same time. I also had the realization specifically with Netflix during COVID, we were watching like a lot of Netflix before bed, and I just couldn't sleep after. And I think I get too wrapped up in the story of the show, even if it's a totally silly, funny show. I'm lying in bed for like 20 minutes later. I was like, oh, I wonder why that actor said this, or like, what would have happened if this played out? And I'm like replaying the script in my head in different ways and really kind of thinking about it, even with like a silly show like Friends or Seinfeld, or like I'm like the things that would normally be like, oh, this is not much. It's not like a thriller in that sense. So I really don't try not to watch any TV before bed, but that might be unique to me. I just have a hard time gearing down after a show.
And what did you find something that works for you to calm your mind down?
Well, interesting enough, like reading always puts me to sleep. I read a lot, but as an audiobook, like I listen to books, and that's for me very engaging. I can always follow the storyline. I can always retain the information. I love audiobooks, listen to a couple a month, but when I read, I get very tired. So it took me many years to find that out. So it made high school and college like very difficult until I realized I'm an audio learner. But now that I know that reading puts me to sleep, I just have like a book by my bed and I read like 10 pages, and I'm like, okay, I'm good.
I'm not going to ask which book you have there that never gets read, because you only get one page into.
Exactly.
That poor book. That might be a story for Pixar. The book that never gets read.
Oh man, yeah.
One thing that always puts me to sleep is Matthew McConaughey on Calm. Have you tried that out? Like it's
no.
Yeah,
but I loved his book. By the way, did you read Green Lights?
I have not. No.
Oh, bump it up, top of the list. I loved it.
I'll give it a read. No, it's like I tried out. I use Headspace as a meditation app for sort of in the morning. But we had Calm as a sort of an app to try out with my company. They subscribed to it, and I used it mainly for their time stories.
Mm.
And that put me to sleep always. I don't recall any of the stories, literally, like
Mm.
5 minutes in, 2 minutes in. I don't
Wow.
know. Yeah. I
Okay,
always
I'm
listen
curious.
to
I'll
the
try that.
same story all the
Okay.
time. But yeah, reading puts me to sleep too. It's just something that, yeah, I'm struggling with that evening routine. I need to work on that.
It's interesting how like a lot of those this is a tangent, but how those meditation apps really kind of pivoted more towards like sleeping aids, both Headspace and Calm. I feel like a big component now of their value proposition is like a sleep aid. It's
Mhm.
interesting.
Do you think Headspace just followed Calm because Calm was successful at it?
Oh, I'm not sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think maybe one thing is meditation is a new concept for people, but trouble sleeping is a very old problem, and it's more of like a pain point. Whereas meditation feels like more of an unlock to get to the next step in your life, kind of get that clarity and gain that focus. But it's more like a benefit or like the vitamin compared to the painkiller. Whereas like sleep
Mm.
is like, oh, this is a pain point. I need to resolve this issue so I can go to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah. True. That's very possible. And something that you kind of have to do anyway, sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas meditation is maybe a concept that a lot of people don't necessarily see the need for it as well. Not just being novel,
Yeah.
right? So that they
Yeah.
might associate something and they kind of actively have to do it. Sleep is something you kind of have to do anyway. And you do it
Yeah.
daily.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of new concepts, at least for me, so you mentioned gratitude cards during your intro. You also mentioned Reflection.app. I would love if you could just maybe try to convince me as well a little bit, because I don't journal. I think I should, but reflection and gratitude is definitely something that makes sense to me, but it's similar to maybe other people's meditation routine. This is new to me. So tell me sort of what the importance is of these practices, and also the health benefits maybe, or the benefits in general.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll speak mostly to my own experience and how it's changed me. I've been journaling for maybe 17 years now, and on and off in different ways. And I think that's the other thing that's interesting about journaling is there's so many different ways to journal. You can keep a diary, just like a list of the things that happened today. My grandmother, who's since passed away, but she used to write every day, like 2 or 3 lines about what happened that day, like for years and years and years. And that's like a very interesting way of kind of keeping note of what happened. But there's also kind of another kind of layer on top of that is from diary to a journal, which is where you also write what happened, but how it made you feel, how you experienced it. It's kind of more of your personal emotions and how it connected. And then kind of one level beyond that is reflecting back. So you've got these journal entries about your experiences and how they made you feel, and then looking back and then learning from them, and with the perspective of time. How do you view that experience now that days have gone by, weeks have gone by, years have gone by? And then the next step beyond that is this kind of more introspective journaling, or guided journaling, where you're asking yourself very specific, deeper questions to help you better understand yourself, your core values, what you want from life. That helps you kind of realign your compass. Those are kind of like the 4 big buckets I think about when I think about journaling. And I think all of them play a very specific and important role in understanding ourselves, in our personal growth, but also our personal acceptance, our self-love. I feel like journaling is a great way to understand and appreciate ourselves for who we are.
And I mean, sort of naively asking, why is that important, the self-love or the appreciation?
Yeah, I think it's really hard to love others, to love the world, to love the universe around us if we don't really love ourselves first. I think it's a very important part of stepping into our fullest self, to unlock our greatest potential as individuals. I feel like first we need to really love who we are and be comfortable with who we are.
Mm-hmm. So is that similar to what I said before, sort of from a frustration perspective, that you sort of, I kind of deflect the issue to somebody else or something else rather than seeking sort of the change in myself? Is that similar?
Possibly. I mean, it's not this, it's also not that always about change. It could be about identifying a behavior that you have in yourself and kind of noticing a pattern and saying, okay, I don't want to fall into this pattern again. But it also could be, oh, I seem to fall into this pattern. This seems to be something I do quite frequently. And now I know that about myself. So when I'm in that situation again, I can expect that I might feel this emotion arising. And then you can do with that information what you will. If you're happy with the outcome, go for it. If you're not happy with the outcome, then take a moment to think about it. But that awareness of your own personality and your own behaviors and your own desires, your own core values, it allows you to make decisions in life that are much easier. Like I think one example is kind of identifying your own personal values. And then when things come up, then you know, okay, is this inside or outside of my values? And it makes it easier to make decisions. The same way you might prioritize things at work. You know what your key performance indicators are, you know what you're really trying to achieve. And with those in mind, you can decide how you prioritize your work. On a personal level, when you know your own personal values, you know where you want to go, like your big buckets, how you want to spend your time and energy, then when decisions come up, opportunities come up, it's easier to say no to things because it's clear what you want to spend your time on.
Yeah. A lot of people struggle a little bit on how to get started. Is that then something that you would recommend? Start with sort of what's important? Or how would you, what would be your advice to someone that just starting to explore this?
Yeah. I think when it comes to journaling specifically, whether you're writing in a notebook or typing on your computer, I think the most important thing is to find a place where you feel you can be totally honest. So if you feel like you can't write in a book because someone might find it, or if you feel like conversely, you don't feel comfortable writing on your computer, just find the modality where you feel like you can really be honest. Because I feel like the honesty is the path towards getting the most value from it, especially with some of these deeper topics. So I feel like the first step is get comfortable being honest. So for me, a lot of times that looks like stream of conscious writing at my computer. I'll usually listen to the same album. I listen to Ludovico Einaudi. He's a piano composer. That always kind of, when I hear that music now, my mind associates it with being honest, with typing, with writing. And so I just put in my headphones, I listen to that music, I open up Reflection.app, and I just start writing. Could be anything. Sometimes in the morning, I'll just write, oh, I just sat down at my desk. I have a cup of tea next to me. It looks a bit cloudy outside. And then I just see what arises from there. And I just try and write as things arise. Right now, I'm feeling a little bit of tension in my chest because I'm thinking, and I notice myself also thinking about my work ahead. Here are some of the things that are coming to mind. Oh, and I had this dream last night. And it doesn't need to be coherent. It doesn't need to be anything. It's just writing things as they arise and kind of seeing what comes up. And after about 10 minutes, I always start to notice that the things that are arising are more specific and like a little bit beneath the surface. And I'll notice that, oh, actually, that conversation I had with dinner last night is still stuck with me. And I'm still thinking about it. And why is that sticking with me? And why am I still thinking about that? And then I can write about that. And it's interesting to see what you unearth when you kind of give your mind space to defragment. I guess that's a good comparison. You think about a computer and you want to like defragment your hard drive. I don't know if that's still a thing anymore. I might be dating myself again, but this idea of kind of like you're taking all the different pieces that are kind of like scrambled around and now kind of like, oh, you can start to see the picture and start to see, get some clarity around some of those things that were loose before.
And it is the writing itself also crucial to it so that you can basically bring, I think I've read this in the past somewhere that, when you the process of writing helps you sort your thoughts because you need to basically, once it's on paper, it's usually more structured. Is that key, or can you also just basically talk to yourself in your head or talk to a wall if you don't feel comfortable writing something down?
Yeah, a lot of our users actually use the dictation feature to kind of speak to their journal. Again, I think it's personal preference. We were talking about this earlier on the call before we started, but like hearing my own voice is not something I'm personally very comfortable with. So for me, voice recording is probably not going to be my preferred method. But for some people who are very comfortable speaking, they might feel like that is the safest, most comfortable place for them.
That brings me to another point. Like, okay, so the narcissistic people that want to listen to themselves, right? So that's the implication. Now, joking aside, is it crucial also to go back and listen to your reflections from the past? Or, I mean, you're kind of implying that you don't want to hear yourself that way. So do you go back and read what you wrote?
Yeah, I think there's different value that I get in the moment that I get from when I look back on something. And so the value in the moment is I feel a bit more grounded. I feel a bit more clear-headed. I feel a bit more prepared to take on whatever comes next. When I go back and read something that I've written in the past, I get the most value from kind of seeing how I was thinking about something. And more often than not, the things that were challenging me, I realized were irrelevant or it wasn't worth my time or energy. And that gives me perspective to kind of remember that in the future. The things that that were highlights for me, I'm able to foster gratitude for them. Being like, oh yeah, it seems that every time I go skateboarding, I'm just like in a great mood for the rest of the day. But I only went skateboarding like 3 times last month. Why don't I just go skateboarding more? That's like an easy thing for me to do. So I'm able to kind of recognize those patterns of highlights and be more intentional about doing them more frequently. I'm able to recognize the patterns of things that challenge me and just be better prepared for them in the future. So I feel like the reflection part is really where I learn the most about myself and I'm able to appreciate the life I have.
Mm-hmm. Do you sort of that makes, I mean, this makes totally sense, right? Sort of to have a correlation between the things that actually work well with for me mentally, to get set up and be back to these routines that frustrate me as well. Sort of, how do you set yourself up for success throughout the day or the evening when you want to be productive, or with your kids? Do you go through when you reflect on your reflections, sort of a meta reflection kind of thing? Do you also write down those takeaways or sort of what to do or avoid in the future? Is that is that part of journaling or is that something else?
Yeah. That was actually one of the big reasons we were so inspired to build Reflection.app. We built that into the app. So we've got a monthly review process built into the app directly. So at the end of the month, it resurfaces all of your highlights for you and it asks you specifically, what were the patterns of these highlights? With all of your lowlights, it takes you through a process to reflect on them. It asks, was this lowlight, this event, was it within your control or outside of your control? If it was within your control, what would you do differently next time? If it was outside of your control, how can you find peace with it? And then it lists out all of those kind of learnings, in addition to some other kind of highlights and summaries from the month. And then it kind of gives you a one-pager look back on the month to kind of help you capture those learnings and appreciations.
Oh, wow. Really cool. Is there some advice you want to give? I mean, of course, you want everybody to use Reflection.app, and I've given it a try in the past a little bit, and I think I should do more. But do you have some advice if somebody really wants to get into this now? What's the easiest way? I mean, you mentioned the website already, but what's the easiest way? Yeah. Should it be mobile? Should it be laptop? How to get started?
Yeah, I guess I have a couple quick thoughts. I use my mobile to just capture moments of the day. I'll basically take a photo and I'll create an entry for that photo. Like, oh, this is my son. He just learned how to use the potty. He's doing like pee-pee on the potty. This is great. Like a reminder of things that happened. And I use my computer to do more like longer form writing and free writing, more of that introspection. So I think there's like different tools for where you are. One other thing that I'll plug quickly is probably by the time this podcast is live, we'll have launched something called Depth. We're going to be releasing it very shortly. It's depth.reflection.app, and it leverages OpenAI to help you better understand your own feeling with personalized prompts. So what it looks like is you open it up and it says, I'm feeling, and there's a blank line, and you just write in one sentence how you're feeling. For example, I'm feeling excited about my conversation with Rico this afternoon or this morning, or I'm feeling anxious about my upcoming meeting with my boss. And it'll give you 3 very specific journal prompts to help you better understand that feeling. So in the case of I'm feeling anxious about an upcoming meeting with my boss, it'll, for example, give you 3 journal prompts like, what specifically are you nervous about going to this meeting with your boss? Number 2, when in the past have you felt similar feelings and how did you overcome them? And number 3, and these are just examples, but I did a search like this recently. And the third one would be, if this meeting went perfectly, what does it look like? And so those are 3 very specific questions to help you understand the experience you're about to enter, to better prepare for that experience, and to help you find a bit of clarity and comfort in how you're currently feeling. And I feel like being able to offer that is something I'm excited about, because if you don't know where to begin with journaling, you can begin by just saying in one sentence how you feel and why you feel that way, or what experience is related to it. And then if you want to go deeper, there's 3 very specific ways you can kind of go deeper with that experience. And for me, when I've done that in the past, especially when I'm feeling challenged by something, if I'm feeling anxious or depressed or sad about something, those questions, those 3 prompts, when I answer them, I feel much lighter because I better understand the root of that feeling. Sometimes I have a feeling and I don't know where it comes from, but I'm feeling it. Like, I know it's loosely related to an experience, but like, why would I feel nervous? Why would I feel anxious about it? And then I can kind of better understand, oh, maybe I'm feeling this way because in the past this happened, or because something else happened. And oftentimes the questions that come up can put a different perspective on it, can help me foster gratitude for that moment. Or if I'm mad at someone, I remember I put in a prompt, I'm feeling like angry at this person. And one of the prompts I got back, to my surprise, was, what is something you're grateful for about this person? And I was like, oh, God, that's a tough question, especially in that moment. But I remember after I answered that question, the things I was grateful for, I felt totally different. Like, actually that is backed up by science. There's this idea of like emotional incompatibility. You can't be resentful and grateful for someone at the same time. Like you can task switch, you can like switch between the 2, but you can't feel both at the same time. So there's something very powerful about the role gratitude plays in a lot of these things, that it allows us to completely change our perspective on something, even if for just a short period of time.
Can you put maybe sort of gratitude and reflection in perspective with each other? It's like, is that part of the same process, or is this something you do separately?
Yeah, there's ways to incorporate a gratitude practice into your journaling. A lot of people do that. A lot of people have a gratitude journal, or they list out specifically, a lot of people do it at the end of the day. Here are 3 things I'm grateful for and why. And that and why part is actually very important, because it helps you kind of contextualize what you're grateful for.
That's the reflection about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
And that becomes a journaling in and of itself. But I think you can also be grateful for things without journaling, and you can also journal without being grateful for things. But I feel like both practices definitely benefit from each other.
Yeah. And so what is gratitude something you do in the evening? Do people do that in the evening or in the morning? Like, do you set yourself up for what happened? I'm grateful for what happened in the day, or is this something that, sets you up the right way to be appreciative of the people around you? I have no idea. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah. There's no right or wrong way to be grateful. And I'm definitely not the expert, but I've heard different iterations. Actually, a good friend, Tim, was telling me, he's a very inspirational guy for me. He was saying that in the morning, the first thing when he wakes up, I was telling him I don't like to get out of bed in the morning. I'm not a morning person. And he was like, oh yeah, the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning, I just think about all the things I'm grateful for. And starting with, I'm grateful that I woke up this morning. And that was really inspiring for me. I feel like that concept of like just being grateful that you woke up for the morning is a very motivational idea about the opportunity that lies ahead. And I've also loved the idea, and we do this at our dinner table frequently, is just while we're having dinner, just talking about what we're grateful for. So I feel like it could take many different modalities. If you want to write about it in the morning, there's lots to be grateful for in the morning. Write about it in the evening. I think the cool thing is despite how challenging a day might be, there's always something to be grateful for. And I think realizing that in the morning or in the evening is a powerful experience.
Yeah. Wonderful. I'm going to close out with the manifesto again. I think the very last sentence there, if I read that correctly, is live your dream and share your passion. I think, Dave, you incorporate that completely. You basically live that, and I can feel sort of what you guys are doing at the moment is something that you believe in and live in and out. What's your North Star now with Reflection.app? Is it still the manifesto or an iteration of it, or what are you trying to, like, if we speak again in 10 years into another podcast episode, what do you want to tell me about Reflection.app?
I think it kind of summarizes down into living with intention and reflection. And for me, that's really kind of like a cycle. Like, intention helps me kind of get to where I want to go, and reflection helps me reset my intentions. And so my goal with Reflection.app is to help people live intentional lives, and then to reflect and kind of reassess, and then kind of continue to live with intention. So yeah, kind of making the most of the time we have on this planet, making the most of our time and our energy.
All right. So to quote another, and that's going to be the last quote from the manifesto, is life is short. So I fully agree with you. We should live it to fullest extent. Thank you so much for taking your time out of your busy day, Dave, and being part of the Midpoint. It's great having you.
Thanks.
For everybody else, thanks for listening in. Please, this is a new podcast, so leave a review on your podcast app or on iTunes. Ideally 5 stars. Give us feedback. We'd love to hear it. And if you like the show, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and everything else that you can do. Looking forward to having you again. Thanks, Dave.
Rico.
And speak to you soon.
This was a delight. Yeah, talk to you soon.
Bye, guys.